Yeah, kia ora koutou. Welcome along to our Waipapa Community Board meeting today. Great to see a good number of people joining us today. We'll start off with our karakia, so I'll ask everybody to stand. First item is apologies. We do not have any today. John is online. No declarations of interest. That takes us to our confirmation of previous minutes. We have a mover and a seconder for those. Vic and Pauline. Put that motion. All those in favour? That is carried. And we'll move on to our public forum. So we've got a few people today. First up, we've got Ruby Grace Miller going to speak to us about pedestrian safety on Fitzgerald Ave. Welcome along, Ruby Grace. And just a reminder for anybody doing a public forum, you get 5 minutes, and that includes time for questions.
Just yeah.
Have a seat and fire away.
The flicker.
Oh.
That's the one. And shine because all eyes is on.
Yeah. Yours.
Hello, my name is Ruby Grace and I cross at this intersection almost every single day to get to school. The issue I'm finding is vehicles travelling west on St. Asaph Street and turning right up north onto Fitzgerald Ave are given a green light at the same time pedestrians travelling across Fitzgerald Ave can also have a green light. This results in a numerous amount of cars either nearly running into, honking, or then swearing because both the cars and the pedestrians are being given the right of way at the same time. The issue is because at this intersection, all of the lights are one level lights, so there are no green arrows. So when that light turns green to let the cars continue travelling west up St. Asaph's, the cars who are wanting to turn right are also being given the right of way to do so. Therefore, what I propose should be looked into is either adding a green turning arrow so that there is no confusion, and also pedestrian island as a second issue that is being come across is that the lights, the pedestrian crossing lights are not long enough. They last 4 seconds when green and another 7 when flashing red. I have tried to run this and I still end up not making it to the other side in time. And I am a relatively healthy teenager. So for people with mobility issues or younger children, this could cause severe risks, especially at the moment while the cars are turning into me or into people. So yeah, that is. Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Great. Sweet. Very succinct. Ellie's got a question.
I have, and it is not meant to be inflammatory or having a go at you or anything, but I do wonder, we can't put, well, the only reason I started with that is I want to know from you whether you think the responsibility is there for the driver and to what degree. I remember, and you're a hell of a lot younger than I am, but I remember when I was your age, the understanding was that the traffic had the right of way unless there were pedestrians there. So the pedestrians get the right of way. Now, I'm wondering whether people are being taught that anymore, whether there should be a public information campaign. You could whack a light on every intersection if you wanted to, but it's expensive and time. So I'm just interested in your comments and thoughts on that.
Yeah, well, definitely I do. If someone is crossing a road, people should be giving pedestrians right of way. But the issue is that both legally pedestrians and cars are being given the right of way in this situation. And so like it's not up to a car to be looking at the pedestrian lights and seeing that they have a green light. So I do believe people should be seeing that there is a child crossing a road and stopping.
No, what I'm saying is the cars have the right of way, but not if there are pedestrians there. The road rule says if you've got pedestrians there, the car has to give way. So I'm just wondering whether you think that maybe an information campaign or people actually knowing it would help.
I definitely think it would help.
Yeah.
Yeah, in general.
Yeah, okay, thank you.
Ellie, Simon.
Thanks, Ruby Grace. I recall this exact scenario being raised as a safety issue for Harewood Road if lights were implemented at Gardens Greens, with Harewood Road being too long, long way across essentially. With this one, let's say got halfway across and then we're concerned for your safety getting the rest of the way. Is there the option to stop in the middle and call the light, hit a button in the middle like some intersections do?
No, there is. That's why my second suggestion was to add one of those sort of pedestrian islands. Yeah.
Thank you.
Sorry. Any more questions? Okay, well, that's something, right, Emma.
I was just going to ask about with the streets being done up down there, St. Asaph Street, what's its function? What's it functioning? Is it functioning mainly for cars? Has it got the pedestrian? I can't remember. Has it got the cycle lane in it? Which one is which?
I don't know.
I'm just asking that due to the number of cars.
A cycle lane.
Due to the number of cars coming down there, is it one of the main roads you have to take? So there'll be a lot of cars turning right.
Yeah, at that specific intersection, the cars travelling from the west, when they're still on the east side of Fitzgerald, this road is smaller, but when they cross, the road actually gets bigger. It is one road over, I don't know the name of the road, that has that very specific bike lane around the school.
So, yeah, very road.
Emma, just very quickly, surely we could immediately make a positive difference here by extending the cross time.
Yeah, that is something we can ask
Okay,
up to.
thanks.
Yeah,
Look
so I'm going to
into
ask that we hope that there's a few things that
Thank you.
we can look into.
We'll come back to you with some advice.
As you say, the easy, quick one seems to be extending that green crossing face. So I can ask for that to be done. Thank you very much for taking
Cheers.
along, Ruby Grace.
Yeah,
Appreciate
great,
it.
thank you.
Next up, we have Jennifer Dalzell speaking, promoting the Dudley Design Guide. Welcome along, Jennifer. You've been here before, you know the drill. 5 minutes.
Yeah, thanks.
Thanks.
Thank you for having me here today. I'm here to ask for funding to print and deliver 800 copies of the Dudley Design Guide to houses in the Dudley character area. Now, a bit of history and context. The Dudley character area is the area bounded roughly by Hills Road, Shirley Road, Petrie Street and North Avon Road. And prior to the earthquake, it was a special amenity zone. And then after the earthquakes, that was dropped. And then in 2019, the council identified 15 character areas in the Christchurch district. And the Dudley character area was one of them. Now, I think on your laptop things, you've got a copy of the Dudley Design Guide. And 4 paragraphs down, it says the role of the design guide. And it's to provide an overview of the special qualities and a series of corresponding design principles which give direction to the development or alteration to houses and sections. And then over on pages 3 and 4, there's more specific design criteria for garaging, setbacks, landscaping and fencing. And then on page 4, there's height, roof, scale and details. So if you're building a house in the Dudley character area, you have to comply with all the specifications to do with those things. And they are so that the houses are all character and the area sort of stays the same. But the problem is that if you buy an existing house and then renovate it, and you don't have to get consents, then you can basically do whatever you like and there's no oversight or no policing by the council. This was sent out in 2019 and there's been no further communication from the council about the Dudley character area or the design guide, except in 2022 they did send something out saying that you live in the Dudley character area and you might be affected by plan changes 13 and 14, but it isn't, it's not now. And so I deliver the Richmond Community News to about a quarter of that area. And over the last 3 or 4 years, I've noticed 10 high fences being built. And that is one of the things that's specified under fencing and street boundaries, that the front fencing must be no more than 1 metre high. But the council aren't interested in doing anything about it. And the thing is that people buy a house, they have no idea they're in a character area, they have no idea about the design guide. They think, I'm going to put up a high fence, and away they go. And so, like that I've spoken to the planning department and they think there's enough information out there that real estate agents tell their customers or lawyers tell their customers about the Dudley Design Guide, etc. And if you look on there, I've got property features of 2 open homes I've just been to recently in the area, and there's no mention at all about the character area. The real estate agent made no mention at all about the character area. And also there's a limb of a house that I bought in the area, and like on page 12, 17 pages, there's 2 lines that this house is in the Dudley character area. And so like people just don't know anything about it. And there's also a fence there that just went up last week, and that's a flipper. He's bought that house and he's gutting the inside and he's going to on-sell it. And he's just whacked up this huge ugly fence, and there was another one the week before. So this is what I would like to do, is print this and deliver it to the letterboxes so people at least know it exists and what the story is. And I've had a quote to print 800 because there's so much colour, $720. But if it was in black and white, it would be less. But I think it needs to be in colour, actually. So that's what I'm here for, to ask for funding to do this. And I'm happy to deliver them. Because it's like death by 1,000 cuts, you know. Another fence, another fence. Like where I live, when I moved there in 1986, there was no fences up to the corner. And now there's all fences. So anyway, that's why I'm here, to ask for money.
Okay, Ali, you're the question.
Yeah, great. I suspect that this is a city council job, actually. I think you make a good point about information. We have a Melbourne special character area around Melbourne and Roosevelt. But I do believe that the due diligence is with the purchaser. It's like buying anything that's had an earthquake claim on it. It is up to the purchaser to show the due diligence required.
But if they don't know it even,
Well, they will through the lawyer.
When I bought that property, the lawyer didn't even.
Well, that's the lawyer's responsibility, and that's what their insurance.
Yeah, I know,
covers.
but see, this is what the council says. It's all these other
Yeah,
people's
so
responsibility.
what I'm
that they're not
suggesting is
doing it.
that the council should look at distributing this, I think, around the area. I think it's a valid point, but I don't think we should be funding something like that. I think it's something that we should be doing through our council.
Pauline, did you have another?
So you said you've been talking to planners about it at council?
Mark did. When I contacted Mark about coming here, he rang up the duty planner and they said, oh, there's enough information out there already that this real estate agents and solicitors advise their clients about it. But
My question is actually, is this going to be affected by Plan Change 13? Because
I've got the advice that Mark got from the.
Oh, well, I rang her up. I actually rang up after that and spoke to the boss.
Yeah.
Did you speak to Glenda then?
And what was the outcome of that?
Sorry?
What was the outcome of that conversation?
Because he said that plan changes 13 and 14 were going to affect it, but they're not.
How do you know?
Because I asked whoever I spoke to. They don't affect it. I looked them up anyway.
According to the advice from planners that Mark got, through Plan Change 14, there is a change proposed to the extent of the Dudley character area.
Yeah.
I've said it could be confusing to contact homeowners again within a relatively short period of time.
Yeah. So it sounds like they're going to reduce it.
Whoever I spoke to was most emphatic that they're not. Maybe I should have got them to send me an email.
So maybe what we should do is wait, because it would be 13, wouldn't it be? Because that's coming.
Okay, I'll get them to send an email because they were emphatic that it was, I repeated about 4 times.
Yeah.
Okay, well, we can follow up and get some further advice there.
Because I mean, apart from that, I think your offer to get out there and do that delivery so people are informed is a really nice one. And let's just see what the outcome is of the boundary, and if it's not very.
So what's going to happen?
Well, we'll wait for the outcome from Plan.
From who? From who exactly?
From the hearings panel for the Plan Change 13.
Oh, when's that? When will that be?
I think it's June.
Oh, okay.
So it's really soon.
Yeah. Oh, so it hasn't been decided yet. Oh, okay. So they might reduce the area. Is that what you're saying?
They might. We don't know, because I know that I struggled even to get some of the Chancellor Street houses back into the, I think they were all dropped out at one point,
Out of what?
out of being a heritage area.
Oh, that's a heritage area. That's different to a character area. That the character overlay is the whole area,
Right.
and that are those 5 houses, yeah, where I live, actually, yeah. I think
The listings.
they didn't even reply, I think, that people.
Okay, well,
We'll clarify.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Victoria, you had a quick question?
Yeah, I
Okay.
did, just checking, the Dudley Design Guide, is that a document that's publicly available for people and can it be found on the website?
I believe so. That's where you found it, Jennifer?
Oh, yeah. I just
Yeah.
Googled
So the reason I
design guide,
raised it is
and it goes
that,
on about all the design, the character areas and all the design guides.
the reason I raise it is that when it comes to communicating with the public, rather than printing 6 or 7 pages on colour, which is going to cost quite a lot, one of the options is to do a smaller, short black and white flyer with a QR code that you go straight to the council website. So that cost will diminish significantly from the quote that you've already got. So
Yeah,
how about we pick that up again once we get the outcome of PC14?
yeah,
Because that could be another way to go about it for you to
Yeah.
achieve the objective that you want to achieve.
make it a lot cheaper. I think.
Good idea.
Too much.
Thank you. Oh, you did do something.
Yes, I've got something to Jennifer, just going back to the limb. How easy is it to make changes to the wording on limbs?
Not.
I mean, would it be possible to actually put on that limb where that one sentence is to also then put, please see, Dudley Designed Guide at this link?
I think that'll be a regulatory or a legal issue
To get
to what you
advice.
can put on a limb. You can't just go willy-nilly putting stuff on a limb. So
But
there
could
need
we not
legal
be
advice on it.
But could we be
We can get
sending
some advice on that.
suggestions and suggestions through to who does it and lands, isn't it?
Great. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Jennifer. Thanks, Jennifer.
Great. And next we have Reverend Lisa McInnes from the Holy Trinity Church. Welcome along.
Thank you. Greetings. I'm Reverend Lisa from Holy Trinity Avonside on Stadmore Road. I'm here on behalf of my colleagues to talk to you about car parks. Real exciting stuff, car parks. But I know it's not exciting, but it's amazing what can happen to a small piece of unused land in an area devastated by the earthquakes. So Holy Trinity, as you may or may not know, has a brand new building, 2 years or so old, with a new car park off Stadmore Road. However, between us and the Avon River is Litchgate Close, leading of course to our historic Litchgate. We own several pieces of land on Litchgate Close, including the old church car park. And Christchurch City Council owns the rest of the red zone land there. Back in 2023, there were a number of freedom campers, and I'm going to put quotes around those, inverted commas on purpose. They were staying in Beverley Park. And they were camping, freedom camping in Beverley Park car park. I'm not sure the reason behind it, but Christchurch City Council put up notices to say that the gates would be now closed at night, meaning that the freedom campers needed to leave. Perhaps it was due to the antisocial behaviour that was going on in the area, rubbish, vandalism. The toilets at Beverley Park are always being vandalised. One woman, elderly with drug, alcohol and mental health issues, was worried about where she would go. She had felt safe staying overnight in the Beverley Park car park. And there were not many places that she'd felt safe before. We offered her our lower car park and use of our toilets and kitchen when the church was open. And we invited her along to what we had been the warm or welcome space, which was just a chance to come along and be warm, have something to eat and play games. Gradually from there, we became known as a place to freedom camp. Again, I use freedom camp in a loose way because most of the people that stay in our car park for more than a night or two are homeless. They may look like freedom campers touring around the country visiting different places, but they're not. We have homeless with drug, alcohol, and mental health issues. We have students who are students studying who can't find a place to live at reasonable rent. We have people working. Some come over from the coast. They stay in our car park Monday to Friday, go home again on the weekends. But they can't get a place that's reasonable to rent. Increasingly, we have elderly with nowhere to live and no support networks. We have people who choose to live in their vehicles. We have people in crisis with nothing other than the vehicle that they arrive in. And sometimes we even get people who have nothing. A lady arrived a few weeks ago who couldn't get a bed at the Night Stop shelter for 3 nights. She was put on the waiting list. She had a tent that was given to her by the City Mission and the clothes that she was wearing. And that's where my team comes in. Community workers, River Rain and Ian. So along with offering a safe space to park up when they need it, we're offering facilities to use as needed. The toilets are open when we're open. People can come in and get hot water, use the kitchen facilities, charge their devices, and they can get fresh water 24/7. We've opened an op shop, and as much as we do sell things at affordable prices, we give away more than we sell. We give away bedding, clothing, blankets, basic necessities, and food to those in need. We have a great working relationship at the moment with the City Mission, and they send people our way that they can't get in for the night. Or perhaps it isn't appropriate for them to be in the City Mission. And also with other social service agencies. Orange Sky now comes to visit us on a Monday. They bring free laundry facilities so people can do washing. And also there's a shower on board the van. Our op shop is open Monday to Thursday. People can get soup or a warm meal for lunch. We've had a few challenges. A few of the tourist visitors not respecting the land, because we do have some actual freedom campers that drop in on us. Usual things you might find when there are addictions and mental health problems, but they've been relatively minor. And it's quite a great community that's developed down in our car park. And those that are there will share the little they have with those who have nothing. The biggest problem we face at the moment is, like most charities, funding to continue the support we offer is getting harder and harder to get, especially for the wages of our 2 community workers. And so any suggestions are gratefully accepted. Blessings have been too numerous to mention, but just a few. Generosity of people donating to the op shop, amazing support from community and local businesses with donations of food, such as the Richmond Vegemart on Stanmore Road. The warehouse donating $750 worth of tents and sleeping bags and much needed resources for those in need this last week. I'm told that the crime rate in the area has significantly reduced. And of course, being able to support people in their darkest moments and times of need. Supporting people as they transition into housing or away from drug and alcohol dependency, getting people support with their mental health, and offering a safe space, most important of all. So where to from here? Funding opportunities are decreasing, making it harder to get funding. We're working with people at the Christchurch City Council to be compliant, allow to have homeless people staying on our land. Our community workers are building links with other organisations to provide more services, food and basic needs. I would like to say the need for what we offer is decreasing, but unfortunately it's exactly the opposite. We're getting more and more referrals each week. So I just wanted to share with you the story of Waipapa. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's amazing. You're obviously doing some really great work with people in need in the area. We really appreciate you doing that. What is it that we as a board could do to help you? Is there anything in particular you'd like us to do?
Under their compliance. With city council compliance, that's
Well,
the best
yeah.
time, right?
It's just a bit of a grey area and fuzzy area. You know, having freedom campers on your private land and car park and things like that. And most of these are not freedom campers, they're homeless, which is a different bylaw.
You own the land.
The church does, yes.
I don't understand.
That's what we.
That's what we said, yeah.
Pauline, you've got a question?
Oh, yeah, I see, thank you. I was going to ask, where's your op shop? Is it in the church itself?
In St Francis Hall, which is at the end of the driveway on Stanmore Road there. So if you know where the church is,
Yeah.
it's,
By the park?
yeah, up the long driveway, it's right in front of you as you,
Well, I think that's what we can do, visit the op shop.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
I'll come with a whole armful of stuff
Yes, yeah. Mhm.
from a house. Yeah.
Yeah,
Ali?
that'd be
Yeah,
fantastic.
can I just, it seems to me that this is an issue about compliance and look, I'm not a lawyer or, policy expert or anything, so I don't know about the issue between private land and people freedom camping. Could we perhaps get some advice or a bit of a memo on that, just so that we
Yeah,
have
we
an
can do that
understanding
now,
of
so
it?
that-
Thank you.
And I don't know if it's Trevor's area, isn't it?
Yeah,
Maybe
that's
you're
right. I don't know whether Trev can
Touch
talk
with
to
people
us.
already. We can certainly make that connection easily made.
Thank you, thanks.
Emma?
I was just going to ask that as well. Who is the person that you're working with in the council on the compliance?
We'll just be compliance.
Yeah, there's two. There's Matt Blakemore, is it? And can't think of the other guy's name.
Yeah, Trev said he'd come and talk.
Well,
to us.
it makes it easier to
Yeah, but
connect with the right people. that's all.
stuff can.
Yeah, we can make sure those connections are being made with the right people. Yeah.
Yeah, just
Number
use the
three.
names, right? there.
Just following up on Pauline's comment about encouraging people to go and visit and support your op shop. What are the hours that you are open so that we can tell people to go and visit you?
Monday to Thursday, 10 till 2.
Thank you.
It's just following on from me. It's a little bit hidden away, isn't it? You might need a little sign on it.
We've just got a brand new neon sign that's gone up this week.
Are you
so-
allowed to put it out?
Well,
So it's where our church sign normally, so I'm assuming the church sign, it's in the same thing as the church sign, so
Yeah.
I'm assuming.
And it says op shop.
Yeah.
Yeah, and we can also get our staff to promote it on our community notices that go out to.
Absolutely.
Pretty good.
Yep, fantastic.
Thank you for taking the time and thank you for all the work you are doing in the area. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Super question, I suppose they are doing a strengthening community.
The stuff.
Right, so that's the end of our public forums. No deputations, no petitions. Takes us to item 7, correspondence. And we just have the one piece of correspondence there from the Snowbin Pavilion and Pool Incorporated. And we have a mover and a seconder for receiving that, Jake and Simon. I'll put that motion, all those in favour? That is carried. Item 8, the need and reserve change part of the reserve
Have you moved
classification
this?
from multi-purpose community reserve. Ali's moved it. Sunita, are you seconding it? Yep. No debate. No, we'll put that motion, all those in favour?
Aye.
That's carried. Straightforward. Item 9, Leandon's Road at Chapel Street intersection, proposed extension of parking restrictions.
Again, I'm happy to move
Happy to
this.
second.
No questions. Sally Ann is here if we've got any.
No.
No, right, Ali's moved, Jake seconded. Put that motion, all those in favour?
Aye.
That is carried. Item 10, proposed road names for 140 Preston's Road.
Sorry, did someone come in for that? Did you come in?
I did, yes.
Oh.
Thank you.
Okay.
Time to be-
Yeah. Sorry.
We've got Sean online, if anyone's got any questions on item 10. Happy to move.
Happy to
the
second.
Proposed. Ali seconded. No debate, put that motion, all those in favour?
Aye.
That is carried. That takes us to our area report for May. Once again, another great report from our team. Any questions for someone on this one? Jason?
Block party went well.
Yeah, it's good.
It was
Good event, good turnout.
Good.
John and Sneaker were there, so it's. Good to have them there. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
awesome day.
Yeah,
Right, we can.
great turnout.
I'm happy to move that as well.
Alex moved it, Sunita seconded it. I just want to quickly say the Anzac parade was again a great success, really good turnout again. And we laid a wreath on behalf of the board, which you can see pictures of there. Obviously it's going to be the last one at the RSA, but the RSA said that council have guaranteed that they will help them find somewhere else and keep it in Papanui. I had an approach from the principal at Papanui High, who is keen to maybe have it there, so those keen,
Yeah.
ideal.
That means you could still have the parade.
Parade, nearly the same, yeah.
So how many people do you think?
Oh, it's
6,000.
No.
1,000.
Oh, okay.
I believe it's the largest one after the.
Outside this, so that-
Largest public one.
Incredible, isn't it?
I think it's probably about 800 in that car park. I don't know how far it spills out.
And there's a lot of people that line the streets going to
Yeah.
go in.
Yeah.
So,
Cool, anything else from the area reports?
Did John have a question? He did something with his hand. Sorry, I should have my mic on.
isn't.
No, he's
Right, staying silent.
But I just want to make a comment,
No,
if I may, about
I-
the Stanmore Road, Worcester Street kind of area. It's really picking up. It's really becoming something, isn't it?
It's good, hardworking, good representation.
Oh, that was. Well, actually, that was going to be my next.
You're not supposed to laugh.
You took it. And also made yourself look really, anyway. But it's incredible to watch it, unfolding and become something. So it just shows you that we can do stuff. I just wanted to say it.
Emma?
Well, I'll add to that, the centre, city centre as well. I was down at the Dumpling House on Sunday and wow.
Yeah.
My whole family said, oh, I can't wait to be, leaving that stadium and coming out onto these streets.
Yeah.
I said, I'll be right beside you. Yeah, it's looking great.
Isn't it?
Lives.
Sunita?
Just to add on to that, the lights going up on, in front of Ara. Already students are super happy about it and, so, good job, everyone.
Oh, yes.
The pedestrian light right of the car park.
Yeah. If they hold the cars up too much, they put bags over them.
Right, okay, so that has been moved and seconded. And that's Sunita, so I'll put that motion, all those in favour?
Aye.
Great work, thanks Sam. And then finally, elected members information exchange. Anybody got anything? Ali?
Just one, discovered this morning, the Courtney Street is closing from the 19th to the 23rd of May. There's been a letter drop in Courtney on Monday, but no letter drop to the school or to any of the streets surrounding. It looks as though the detour, it looks as though the detour.
Just at night.
No, it's all day,
Fine.
7 a.m. till 6 p.m.
7 till 6. They've looked at a stop go, but because of where the fibre implementation is going, they can't do that. It's related to the new builds in the street. I just want to note that that hasn't happened overnight, and I think it would have been helpful had there been a little more thought about the timing of the school holidays. Perhaps would have been a much better time to do it. As I said, the school knew nothing about this. They do now. It may only take a couple of days. The extra days are in there in case there's weather. Yeah, so, and the other issue too, as we're talking about this later, Courtney is in some severe need of help and refurb, and it would have been nice to perhaps align this with that as well, because as it is now, we're going to be digging the street up to ice. But that aside, this is really just to say that after 2 hours on this morning, I've managed to get the information that I think we should have been given as a board. And I think we're back to that situation again of the temporary management plans should be the place that triggers the information to come to the community board. They have done nothing wrong, the contractor. They are required to put a sign up within 7 days of the work starting, which they did. And then after they put the sign up, they do the letter drop, which is around the wrong way, as you and I had talked about years ago to the then CE. So at least it's up on Facebook now, but I do hope that we can change the process because it's not working.
I did have a look at that plan that you sent through, and their detour needs to be changed because it's telling people to turn right from Rutland into Westminster, which you can't.
I raised that this morning when I spoke to them. I said, so where's the traffic going to go? And I knew it was going to be Westminster because that's the only other street. So that's right past us. That's fine. And I said, what's going to happen when they get to the end of the street if they in fact want to go right because you can't turn right there? So they didn't know that, and they didn't know there was a school nearby. So there is definitely a breakdown in communication.
They obviously don't even look at Google Maps or anything.
I don't know, but yeah, so that's a good point about, yeah, where's the traffic going to go? Yeah. Anyway, thank you.
Okay, thanks, Ellie. But
Papanui Bush Planting Day, we've got that coming up on the Saturday, the 7th of June. It's for everybody. That'll be just on the week before our next community board meeting. I understood, Jason, that we were hoping to get a poster of some sorts that Dennis is prepared to in the library as a display, just promoting the Papanui Bush. But has everyone got the timing? It's usually sort of nine o'clock.
Oh, yeah, it's in that media stuff.
Yeah, it'll be worth getting that out there, just a reminder for everyone about that. That's the first thing. The second thing is, thinking about, I see you've got our ward profiles. Are there any hard copies available of those, please?
I've only got them through this afternoon, so no, not yet.
But there will be.
We can make something.
Yeah. Interested in that, thank you very much.
It's 9 a.m. to 12:30.
There we are. Look forward to seeing everybody there with the gloves on.
It wouldn't surprise me if those ward profiles were in a cubby hole.
Oh, we might have one.
Yeah. Before you go. Match day. Right.
Oh, thank
you very much.
I was just wondering about traffic management on Cranford Street and outside the petrol station. So quite often, the last 2 weeks I've come up here, one lane on Cranford Street is blocked with cars sitting, waiting to get into the petrol station. I'm just wondering about the legalities of that regular blockage of a lane by a business.
So when they have petrol specials.
Well, I don't know, it just seems to be all the time, like it was again, yesterday and last.
Is there anything happening you can see? Is there anything?
They're just lining up to get petrol.
Oh, it's to do, all right.
Which direction?
Cranford, going out of town. Yeah, Waitomo.
Oh,
yeah. And so.
Are you talking about Waitomo, not Edgware?
Sorry.
Oh, because they're doing the same there now. The traffic was in the middle of the road. You couldn't get it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's happening regularly.
Right.
I've seen it regular.
Wow.
And so I don't know.
That's a good.
I don't know
point.
how you fix it, but that's quite a breakdown on a,
Main road.
constant, Yeah. So I just wonder, I mean, they're closing a road. Basically, they're closing a lane.
Well, not really.
Only
Cars are in it.
No, but you can't use
but you
it.
can't use
to
it.
drive legally.
We'll get the advice.
Yeah, we can ask the question.
Well, you could put from CSR just to describe the issue, and that's something that staff could look into.
Yeah.
Anyone else?
So sorry, was that a suggestion that Emma put in a CSR?
Yes, please, yeah.
All right.
Anyone else got anything? No? Great. In that case, we will close the meeting and finish with our karakia. Great, so it's coming along your direction.
I'll go with that. I thought that.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Members, we do have an information session.
Thing about the CSR.
Just-
Do that. Say, Customer.
Courtney Street
Oh.
Survey request.
It's not my job.
Yeah.
Not yet, she's coming.
No, I'm not able. I'm not able.
Oh, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
It's too live.
Yeah, I can broke the net.
I'll leave it with you. I hate to.
Right, we may as well get underway. On a roll, so we'll keep going.
No.
It's going to.
We're still streaming.
Yes.
Mark.
Same.
Oh, you can do that.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. Anywhere within the city limits, it's a benefit to them. I'm hoping no one was.
No, the woman was fine. She was a tourist, just arrived in the country the day before. And she was lost and looking for, yeah, so she would have been, yeah. But apparently because they had to wait for a communicator, 5, 6 staff. Oh. Sat around and waited an hour for a communicator,
Translator?
translator to tell that. And yeah, no, she was on her cell phone. She wasn't speeding.
Yeah.
She's going back home in 10 days and they both got insurance, so that's up.
No,
She wasn't injured.
She wasn't injured, no.
Oh, was it the car on its roof in court?
Yeah.
Oh, I wondered. Do you know they posted that originally as St Albans Street? It was put on Facebook originally as Look at St Albans Street, and Rob looked, went, it's not St Albans.
Who did that?
One of the community groups.
On Woes and Pros. I put it up.
No, it wasn't on Woes and Pros, it was on like St Albans Motorho. Community, yeah.
Right, go ahead when you're ready, guys.
Hi, afternoon. I've sent a couple of slides to Mark, but they're not marked. They're really just for prompts. So as per the cover sheet, I haven't got a copy of with me, I apologise. We are really coming to you today to have a discussion with you about Courtney Street and what the problems are you want us to figure out how to solve and how we work through that. And then we will go away and do something. We've picked up the information that we've had in the past, and so we've got some pictures of some of that. So it's all about what do you want us to do? Because and Ainsley's here, sorry, if everybody, if you met Ainsley before, Ainsley Taylor as part of the asset management team, and he's got all the condition data. And then it's about what do we do with this? So this is off the back of conversation today is off the back of the previous briefings that we had on the programs and other briefings that you've had on Courtney Street, both through DEMP and others. Now, apologies from David's son. He would normally be here today, but he is up in Auckland at his daughter's graduation. So I apologise in advance, you've got me, because I'm not quite up to standard. I've been home with a sick kid today as well. So we've had one of those weeks, but that's all right. We're here and look, we want to have a chat. We want to talk about it and then we'll go away and see what we can do. Okay? That's really what staff want to do. So where would you like to start, Chair?
Just before we start, I'm pretty sure everybody here knows the history. So I don't really want to spend time going back over, 2010 and all that sort of thing. So maybe if we can quite succinctly set out what the board sees as the problem.
I think we do it as bullet
And
points.
then
Can I suggest that we ask the staff what they see the problems are first? What are the problems that they know of?
Yeah, well,
And then we could add, to
the data.
So we've got a traffic safety, a usability and a condition sort of those 3 points. So if we start with condition, Ainsley can talk to that because he's got the data, and if you skip down a couple back, not that one, that one.
Yep. This is the condition data that we've got. Effectively, in terms, what we really look for is central deflection. That 22% is how much of the road as a whole has a deflection over 1.8 millimetres.
That's how curved it is.
It's how much it bounces. What it does, we drove a truck all over the city. We had a weighted wheel.
Go to the next one, please.
And then a laser measured how much that wheel caused deflection in the road. Effectively, it's you want to do a falling weight test. Basically, we did that for the whole city. I won't get into the technicalities, but it's measuring the subbase. So what's wrong under the road?
Oh, that's good, yeah.
Only 22% triggered over that 1.8 millimetres.
So you can see from there that on the whole, it's pretty good.
Yep.
There's 2 red patches.
Yep. Now, one of those red patches is where Three Waters came in and did some work. So there could be some issues from that. That triggered. The other section is where there's going to be some private development works as well. So
there's been some issues here. So what that's telling us is that actually the subgrade under the road is quite strong. It's quite good.
Yep.
And if you go back to sorry, Mark, you're going to be up there. And then so you were the CLH is next one.
So the CLH, it did have a emulsion seal done a number of years ago, and it's past due, quite badly past due, getting another seal. So that would also address, that seal would also address your NASRA, which is your roughness rating as well. So what this is all telling us is a lot of the problems with the road are at that surface level to do with the roughness and that, but the sub-base is pretty good. So that's why what it says, and you can see it up at the top right-hand corner, it's recommending a reseal, which would be we would come in, reseal that top surface.
Just put another one on the top, or do you?
Mill it down.
Mill it out.
Yeah, I'm remembering last time we stopped that.
Yeah.
I know.
So we'll come back to that.
Yeah. Right.
So you've got your pavement there. So largely it's quite strong underneath. The seal probably needs a redo. The top, the coating, Cuban channels and footpaths.
Cuban channel and footpath are in okay condition. They're in fair condition. There are no major issues. When we went out there, we in comparison.
Except it's deep dish.
It's not even the worst I've seen today.
It doesn't mean that we shouldn't look at it.
So did you go out? Hang on.
Oh.
No, not today. It didn't go out today. We're just talking about the condition. We'll come back to other reasons why you might want to look at it, okay? Let's just talk about the condition. The condition is always and will always be metric, as in there will be measurements that we take and it passes or it fails, or it's given a condition rating of anywhere from very poor to good. Okay.
Can I just
So-
say something to that, Lynette, for a second though, because this is where the trust and the. Oh, sorry.
Can we?
No, this is important in the briefing. When we've raised issues about pavement condition or gutter condition in the past, and it has been broken to the point that it can't be used and there's plants growing out of it, and the response that we get from staff is, it is a fair and reasonable condition. That's why when we get these the measure from you, that you get a bit of pushback from us. So I just wanted to put that in context.
I understand that,
Yeah.
but I do need to pass on to all of you. These measurements are metric. They are based on standards that are used and we are measured against, and it is audited against, that are used across the country. So we are being consistent across the country. A lot of these metrics, particularly around surfacing and pavement checking, they are the ones that matter as to whether we get NZTA subsidy or not. So and we are audited on that. So every couple of 3 years. So that's the metric, but there are other reasons why we would go and look at some of these streets as well. So I'm not trying to say this is a no, this is just opening up the information.
Cool.
The Cuban channel down there, yes, is deep dish, is in a pretty fair condition in comparison to many deep dishes that I've seen. If you take other streets around the ward, there'll be others like the bottom end of Stapleton's.
Yep.
There's actually nothing in the bottom of the Cuban channel. No, it's just sort of the sides, and it disappears. So yeah. Sorry.
No. That's true. I mean, there's in terms of deep dish condition, this isn't fair deep dish condition. It is still functioning. It is still doing its job fundamentally. So in terms of the other assets, the footpath and the Cuban channel, they are both in fair condition. The subsurface is in fair condition, so it comes down to the issues being at that surface level from a condition point of view.
So then if we take the other issues that we would look at, it's about the community, the use of it, the perception of it. It is a narrow street. If you go back to the starting, we all know that it's a narrow street. It's there isn't a lot of width down there at all. And I don't disagree. The deep dish Cuban channel and the high crown exacerbate the difficulty with parking, the difficulty with passing, the difficulty getting down there, the perception that probably people are going faster than they are. Mark, I think you've got to go forward about to the end. That one. No, not that one. Go back up to I've just got the table on there. Sorry, I've just got the table on it. So that the question has been about the number of cars going down there, and it has been rising. And we have talked through that with regards to the dent work. David's talked to you about that before. There was a pretty steep rise. 23, 24, I think, is the one that really jumped, and it hasn't come back down. The speeds are relatively low and consistently. In fact, you could argue the actual speeds down there are coming down. Now, the narrowness of it, when you're a pedestrian, the narrowness of it being on a footpath, trying to get across or whatever, the narrowness of it is can impact that perception of speed. People are zipping through. Those are speed counts. That's the data that we've got that we're basing it on. So, I mean, that's the main thing. I mean, the number of cars travelling down it is climbing. We accept that. We can see that. And we're expecting it to go up again when the September counts come in. Speeds are reasonably stable at about 40 to 45 kilometres an hour. Whether that's a speed that is safe to travel down that street or comfortable to travel down that street is another thing.
Sure.
Okay.
Jake, you got a question?
So there's not really a real issue here, basically.
That said, it's a narrow street. Is mine on? Oh, it's probably not on. It is now. It's a narrow street with school on it, with very narrow footpaths. It's not a very comfortable street to travel down, and it has got a lot of. We're just talking about the reasons for prioritising.
Yeah, my only concern with all these sorts of issues is, elected members should be able to prioritise things above purely just a metric.
Yep,
but
absolutely.
At the same time, those resources, you should pick from your own ward, and something else would be deprioritised if this was to come forward.
Yep.
Otherwise, it's just, because across the city, people have different levels of sensitivity, and we wouldn't want, all the resources going to the
So how we've had these conversations with other boards is they've talked about the work going on in their board area.
Yeah.
Rather than ward, it gives them a bit more flexibility. And there has been some prioritisation from other boards. We haven't had this conversation with you about Courtney Street. We've had conversations about Courtney Street, but the board hasn't prioritised it from what I can see in the board plan. So that's your conversation. We can give you all the data.
Are there any candidates in Innes that are due for a bit of TLC that we could substitute?
Yes, most of them are sitting, it'll be Stapleton's, that Richmond area.
No, that's central.
Oh, not in Innes, I don't think.
No, not in Innes. That's.
Well, we can take it from Central.
No.
Yeah.
But that's
If we look at
That's
the
it.
board area.
Look at
Look
the
at
board
it,
area.
I'm saying,
So we can come back and provide the, sorry, Condor's the other one.
But it's all down the track.
So, I mean, that's the thing is, there's a number, and actually, if you look at the Cuban Channel condition of Courtney versus Condor, which is deep dish as well, you can see the difference. Condor is very degraded. So there's streets you can.
Ali, then Pauline, and
Thank you. Look, the reason the board hasn't prioritised this before, I don't think, is when we last discussed it, if I'm remembering it correctly, we talked about trying to do something at the time other work might be done there, because I think the last thing we talked about, there was something that was going to happen in Courtney, and we said, well, can we try and align it with, so you're aware of the enable work happening next week?
Oh, it wasn't.
Yeah.
Found that out today.
Yeah, we did too. So that is only 1 to 2 days, but we're going to have a situation of the road being dug up, people seeing it being dug up, filled in, and then being dug up again if and when we do something else.
Yep.
So I just wanted to say that it would have been nice to perhaps have known that and done it at the same time. The issue with Courtney Street is that it needs work because the change in the street and what it's used for and by is changing immensely. You've got 19 new residents, as in residences in the street, and so that's up to 19 additional people coming and going from the street. As soon as that roundabout came out at the bottom, which was supposed to slow traffic, the traffic sped up. The roundabout actually slowed people down. So there's been a change in the way that the one was down near, you know where I'm talking about? Yeah.
No, I am Westminster, which has gone into law.
No, not Westminster. It was down the other end by Trafalgar and Courtney, St Albans Street.
It used to be a roundabout.
Yeah, there was a roundabout there, and it was great.
Oh, at the end of Rutland.
No, at the end of Courtney. Trafalgar Street.
St. Albans.
Yeah, anyway,
Yeah,
there was,
yeah.
and that worked really well at slowing traffic down.
I'm not being rude.
No,
I'm
no,
gonna
no,
get a map
that's-
up.
Now there's no slowing, they just go straight through. So I think the point is, and it was great to talk about what we need having, to be done here.
Yeah.
But I think it's urgent as well. You're saying, I agree, I don't think the surface is terrible, and I also don't think that the guttering is that bad compared to somewhere like Somme where it's absolutely cracked and there's mud and no, it doesn't work. But where it's become important is the Crown and also the school and the new buildings there, the new residences there. So that's where I think the priority needs to be focused on, not necessarily the condition of the street. That's what I would say.
So I understand that. but that's different reasons for why you're doing it.
It doesn't
And I
matter, it
think-
still needs doing.
I understand that, but that means it's not a renewal. It means we don't translate it for a renewal somewhere else or not do a renewal
So
somewhere else.
what do we have to
Right.
do? What is your advice on what needs to be done in order to address this road's new use, if you like, and the demands on it, in order to get it fit for
Can I ask
purpose?
something, because it might.
Well, we'll let Ally-
Can I come back to that at the end?
Okay.
Is that all right?
Yeah.
I'll park that one.
We've had a couple of briefings on traffic volume. Has the number triggered mitigation through the DEM?
We've only just got this last lot of data through to the independent traffic engineer, and we haven't got final information back from him.
It's over 30%.
It is over 30% now. But that indicates that we should be doing some work to reduce the numbers going through it if it's in line with the DEMP requirements, not upgrading the street so it's
No,
easier to get through.
okay, but also we should be conscious
That makes
that
sense.
higher volumes make it more dangerous. And if I
Yeah.
could, and we're just got to be careful around this table that we're not becoming solutions based. So what we want to do is say, this is what we think that the problem is.
Yep.
And we'll go to you
That's why I asked
to either
Yeah.
prioritise it around the city or find some funding. So what I've heard from people is that camber and the deep dish is a problem. If we could address the curb and channel to make it, flat, that would actually provide probably up to 1.5 meters extra space for parking.
Not that
And
much.
make it-
1.8.
Yeah, and make it a safer street. So that's what people want.
So
in the
you've got,
community.
what's the corridor width down there?
The corridor width is just under 9 metres, just for the
Road.
carriageway. Then you've got about an extra 1.3 on one side and 1.4 on the other.
Yeah, so we're not going to magic any more space.
No,
It will
that's
make
it.
it easier to park closer to the curb, if
Yes,
that makes sense.
so that in effect creates a slightly bigger
Yeah,
corridor.
but I'm not, the metre and a half is
Well,
I'm struggling with, but it doesn't matter about what, it doesn't matter about what the width is.
Yeah. And so if you could.
It sort of does.
address-
So-
It
It's meant to
Well,
be
it does.
22 metres,
Well, it's
so it
not.
sort of does.
No, but all I'm
Yeah,
doing
but
is.
it's can't magic
But
up
it's
any
meant
other.
to be
But all I'm
legally.
doing is telling you,
Yeah.
what I'm hearing from
Yeah.
people in the community, that they would like
Yeah.
that deep dish and
Gone.
channel
Gone.
gone.
So to understand the implications of taking out the deep dish,
Yes,
we will likely have to lower services because they will be under the Crown, and we've got an obligation to put have an amount of coverage, so we can't just cut the top off.
but was
We
that
will
not
have to-
already done before the earthquakes?
No, not necessarily. Most of the streets,
You do know that the job to fix the road was started.
can I finish?
No, I'm just,
Email-
I'm
email
just,
me.
I am just asking.
I just
Answer
want
any
to
question.
talk to what the implications are.
I'm just asking, you are aware that the
Emma.
project started? Yes or no, just yes
Did
or
you
no?
start building it?
Are you aware the
No,
project started?
I am not where we were, I did not get that.
Right.
So
okay.
I am not,
So-
and I don't,
And this is my question around what services
Emma,
that you're just
we need
talking
to
about.
bring
because
another question.
I believe all those services were already done. So they will be.
talking about how they're
Yeah.
near the top of the hump.
Yeah, but
No, but
saying-
I'm saying that the work had already started on the project for it to be redone. So if you notice,
So it
there's
might-
no lights because it's underground. And I believe the water, believe the pipes were also done. So what you're saying about them having to drop all those, I don't believe that actually that might not be
So, Emma,
necessary,
put that-
because I believe that might have already been done.
That is a question.
Yeah.
So can you please look and see if that's been
Yeah.
done? and
But also
At the moment, Emma.
But the thing is our conversation is a waste of time if I don't just add in the fact that that could actually be done. That's all.
We'll check
I'm
it out.
sorry to make such a hassle about it, but that's all I'm
It's
saying,
frustrating,
is that it might have just been done. I'm trying to help.
Yeah, it's the
okay,
infrastructure.
so that does happen.
Thank
I
you.
know that.
Thank you.
However, we have to assume that it hasn't until we have proven that it
Yeah,
has.
so let's look at it and do it.
So, okay, but we don't have a project to do Courtney Street. So the thing, when we go in to do and consider, and you've had a memo about all of this, when we go in to consider a street renewal, particularly taking out for leaving my phone on, my son is hang around in the middle of town. I'm just trying to find them.
The bus change.
No, at football
It's
practice, to be
basically
fair,
As long as not.
just in case there's a disaster. What we think about when we've got, when we are looking at a deep dish street is the services and whether they will have to be good. The main one and the big one for Courtney Street is the drainage. You take out deep dish Cuban channel, we will need to install either under channel pipe or a main along that street in order to take the stormwater away, because we will lose a significant amount of capacity. I don't know whether you've seen I've done sketches before of how much capacity you lose when you do that. That is a substantial cost. Yes, the power lines have been undergrounded, and it looks like the street lights are at the back of on the boundary rather than at the back of footpaths rather than the front. So that is something we don't have to do. So that is good. Yeah. And that's a substantial cost. And I'm glad that undergrounding got done, because it would never get done these days.
The street was closed for months and months.
Yeah. Yeah. We have found in some of our other streets when we've done them where Skirt went through and did service upgrades after the earthquakes. They didn't lower the services, they just put them back at the same level.
It wasn't Skirt, it was before the earthquakes. It was the work I'm talking about was done in 2009.
So it's possible that it did, but there has been 3 waters work since, so we just don't know where it is. So we will usually assume it does. It just adds to the cost of the street, of the work.
Jake, Emma had a question and then come to you, Jake.
Oh no, just leave me at the moment. I'm flustered.
So if there is no desire to swap a project around, like Stapletons or Condal, is there another mechanism by which we could make this additive to the program of works, i.e. AP?
It would have to be, and it'd have to be through as a priority from you.
Priority from the board, put off in the AP. We could actually probably do it this AP, couldn't we? No reason we couldn't.
Then it's got to sit in a citywide priority after that. So that's
No, it would be added new money, extra money, similar to what Yanni wanted to do with Bromley Roads.
maybe.
I'm just asking if that's a possibility.
It's a possibility.
Not the best
But
precedent, but
you'd need
possibility.
need costings as well.
And that was my second
Well,
question.
you've had costings, and my understanding is you had broad costings in that memo that you got
Last year.
September last year.
Well, there was a whole plan, so that would be
Would you be able
probably
to
detailed
remind us?
costing.
I will have a look. No, not off the top of my head, because I can't remember what I read.
But again, we've just heard we
yeah.
don't know where so that's going to.
Well, that's made assumptions on your any costing will make assumptions on. We will have made assumptions, but they will be rough order costs.
Yeah, but what are the assumptions made on?
Why do we get assumptions like that when that costing should come to us with that work already having reasonably been done?
Well, and again, the project
You
was,
have to price.
like,
project and
it's
how-
actually been done.
No, we've got LiDAR and things that we can check where the services are and things. When we're getting a costing of a project like this, why would we not know that these services have in fact been already lowered or not? It plays a key role in the costing of a project, which is key in improving of it going forward. Why would that not be?
So the only,
Because that costing would have a cost is the
No.
problem. So, yeah, that's the problem. In order to go and do that investigation work to eliminate the cost here, you're putting in a cost here.
so you need to go and do potholing to.
Yeah.
Can't see any costing in there, no.
We could get really good data everywhere in the city and then have no money at the end of it to do any of the work.
Yeah,
Data's
because
so
you've
good.
spent the money up here. So yes, you are lowering your unknowns here, but then you're spending money here.
Okay, I think it just would be helpful when we get things like that cost that.
$1 million.
That it actually says something like, we have not investigated where the services are underground, this may affect the costing of it, because it sounds to me like the stuff that we're getting is not fully informed.
But we can only inform the information we know. The only information we know is what our services are. Orion doesn't know. Orion doesn't know where most of these are. The telcos don't where these are.
About what Emma just raised, and that is that you were unaware of that as head of transport, And yet we could have had some sort of flag in the costings that we got saying this happened historically. There may not be a need to actually or lower the services on the road.
Well, and interesting enough, in 2009, there was $926,000 on budget for the street renewal for Courtney Street.
Is that roughly
in the
what we-
street renewal program? They're talking about 2009.
Because if it's only $1 million.
$1 million for
happy-
every 180 metres, it says.
That's
Oh,
the need of the
big.
street though.
Yeah.
So that money had been on budget in 2009
Yeah,
for
but
it.
that's pretty quite, you've
I know.
got to draw a line through that. You
But,
can't-
but somehow it's gone all the way down this level to like, it's nowhere to be seen, but it was on, the funding for it was on budget.
It had been identified as something
It had been identified in 2010 as something that required $1 million to fix. And here we are in 2025 being told that it's of no, there's nothing wrong with it.
So the only analogy I can use to do that is, sorry, councillor Henson, is Condo Ave. That one was actually through and approved and it didn't get built.
This one was
That's what-
started being built.
Yeah, but that's what happens.
It happens.
Well,
Well,
that's what happens. That's what happened around the earthquake.
It's on and Courtney Street's on.
Well, but you haven't prioritised
And the broadband.
Courtney up to this
About
point.
Courtney Street for
You
years.
have been talking about Courtney.
Every time you come to, every time you come to see us,
I'm more than
say we
happy-
can't do anything about
More than
this.
happy to support Innes colleagues if this project is in the quantum of $1 million, if we could end the briefing sooner.
Yeah.
That quantum of money in the scheme of things, it was well worth supporting.
It's about, is it 300 and?
Can't rely on those
More like,
funds.
Well, I want to know whether
Yeah.
there's something in the downstream effects management plan budget, and I do appreciate
That can't.
No, I was just about to say that, Emma. I do appreciate that you can't make it more attractive on a road to go down or fix the problems that are being caused, and we've seen that with Flockton and the others. But there must be something that we could do down there. I don't know whether, well, I don't know. I mean, I'd like to see the wording of
I
that.
think, so the one thing that pops to my mind, if let's put a scenario out there that we do have something on plan to put flat Cuban channel in. There will be other implications around things like parking. You probably lose half the parking down there. If we want to make it more.
Why is that, Lynette?
And it's
Well,
going to be
because-
interesting with 20 new apartments.
Yeah, hang on, why
Because
is that?
you've got people parked on both sides, you've got a 9-metre carriageway. You actually, will need to free it up.
So, can I just, how does that work from
So-
what we've got now? What's changing that means we'd have to?
We're not changing anything at the moment, but we're going in to change it.
No,
So
no,
therefore-
sorry, I'm not
so-
being
no,
clear. All I'm asking, it's really simple. All I'm asking is what's,
Absolutely
Right, so
nothing,
why
except
would there
we're
be-
going to go in and change the environment, so we will need to bring it up to current standards around safety and other issues, which will mean there will be much more no parking down there. There's a
because,
suggestion to do build outs for crossings,
so I'm still not following.
because it will not be, it'll be current safety standards.
What are the current
Forest.
safety standards? What's,
They'll be set back from driveways.
So
Driveways
yeah,
might be
that it's
wider.
22 metres wide. That's
It's
the
too
current.
narrow,
standard.
right?
too narrow to have two-way traffic and
Okay,
parking on
so
two
that's the
sides.
answer to the question. Thank
Yes,
you. So it's
yeah.
with-
Narrow to be a collector road as well.
Understand that, and that
No.
requires a
You
district
know,
plan
you're not
change,
getting it
so.
both
No,
ways.
thank you. You've answered my
Yeah,
question. It's the
yeah.
width that becomes the
Oh,
problem.
yes,
when
sorry.
and then the new standards apply because of the work that you've done.
Because we go in and do work.
Okay, thank
If we
you.
don't go in and do any work, we don't change anything, it
Okay,
stays as
it's
it is.
existing rights essentially. Okay.
Yeah.
The car parking, losing of car parking was already agreed to in the plan that was agreed to by the residents.
2009.
The residents in 2009.
There was an agreed plan done and there was a loss
So
of.
no change now, Em, because there's a lot less parking in the area now.
Because look, can I just to move this forward, because I take Jake's, no, I take Jake's point. I think the point is, and you said it before, Lynette, just kind of tell us what you want or whatever, or you tell us. No, you said it actually,
Yeah.
Pauline. So I mean,
You
the
said what
bottom
we did
line
too.
is, what you're hearing from us and have been hearing from us for many, many years is that the street is dangerous, that it's too, it's dangerous in the way that the cars are parked and the speeds and that sort of stuff. So I think it's pretty clear what is wrong with the road from the residents' perspective and what you're hearing.
Yep.
And
So
the
as
corner,
government-
and the corner.
Yeah, and the corner. So what you're hearing from the community board is Give us options.
AP bid, $3 million done.
That's what it is. Or give us two.
It helps us
no?
do that, to have it as a priority.
So means from here, we are probably going to have a notice of motion come to our next meeting.
Yeah.
Which will give staff a mandate from the board to go away and do the work.
Why can't we just say to staff, could you please go away and come back with the options? Because we've got the years and it's always got lost in the system, so that's.
Do it now. Say we.
No,
we give
but-
Decision-making forum.
But I don't have any mechanism to go away and do that work. We don't have a project. We don't have a plan, but what I will take away from here is that we need to go and have a conversation with Shane. Look, my staff can only work on, and our staff can only work on the program that you give us in the LTP. I mean, we've had these conversations many times.
Actually, and notes actually pointed out in the DEMP work.
Yep.
So,
So-
you know,
so what I will
tell you, but your excuses are no good because you have been well and truly told since then that it was a priority.
So I am also told quite regularly, we need to work on what our priorities are, the
Yeah.
priorities that we have and the priorities that we have been given by council as staff are the priorities that are listed in the long-term plan. And we do not have a mandate to work on anything else.
But you must
That-
have flexibility though, Lynette,
But
to
it's
deal
all
with things as
trading
they
other
come up.
people's
I was
projects
just
down
wanting,
with it.
what I actually really wanted to say, Annie, is that,
Lynette,
we did, sorry, Lynette, sorry, Lynette.
sorry.
We did get to, the residents did get to a stage where there was an agreed plan. And my point of bringing that up is that if we are moving forward, that could save
A
a
good
lot of
starting
money
point.
as well.
I agree.
And that's why I want to keep
No, no,
bringing
I
that up,
agree.
that you are aware that that's there. And, you know, just on a money saving.
Yeah, you don't want to reinvent the
And,
wheel.
and, you know, yeah.
Yeah.
So through the chair, if that's all right. What I will look to take away and ask, it'll probably be ask Jacob to do, is to have a conversation with Shane Turner about the volumes, because I think that is our biggest, if we want to work
Yeah, I
together and
agree.
get it, that's our biggest
I
trigger to
agree.
do it. The volumes are starting to trigger something.
It's triggered them.
Yes.
Yeah, but does that potentially mean that you could go, well, we need to slow the street down and make it safer and whack speed bumps in? Because that could be an option, right? Shane could come back with that.
Be careful what
struggle-
else.
Yeah, well, that's why
Well,
I'm
it is.
mentioning it.
It is.
Safety and speed is the issue of the residents. So
That's right.
if it takes those to slow it down, they don't mind.
You don't,
Not-
but Ally
it-
does.
It's not the
So-
number, she doesn't live on the street.
I
For a
live around the
start, she
corner.
lives on the corner of in a street that is a lot wider, not in very good condition, but
Thank you.
takes about, like 1/8 of the traffic. And again, it's not the number of cars that come through. We realise that and the street, anyone who moves into that street realises that the volume of traffic is high.
Yeah.
Always has been, it's, you know.
Yeah, and
But
it's
it's
a narrow
the
street.
speed and the danger and it's the
Yeah.
inability to walk on the street safely and
Narrow
all of
footpath.
those things.
Yeah.
It's the safeties, that's the thing that the
Yeah.
residents have always brought up.
So
And
that's the lever, I believe, that we've got to have a conversation about that, and potentially there is budget in if that's how we move it, because there is ongoing budget for DEMP works. And because of the way we framed the DEMP works, we haven't used anywhere near.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that sounds like
Yeah,
best
that's right.
option and next
That's-
best
yeah,
option.
if we
is
can
take
make
it,
it, if we can make it.
But that's all got to go through Shane.
Can I just raise something left field then, unintended consequences? So if the issue is the volume and speed and vehicles, have we seen an increase in the number of vehicles going up the street because Westminster was closed off? And so do we run the risk here then of reviewing and rejigging that whole decision? And because if Westminster is wider than Courtney, maybe the car should be going up Westminster.
We've got the cycle at the end now, you see,
Can't
that's
go
what's
right out of
happened there.
Westminster, that's the problem.
Okay, so 43 is an unintended consequence of the decision that was made in respect of Westminster.
That's exactly right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes,
Well,
and the fact that Courtney is the collector.
Yeah.
And
Which is
and-
incorrect.
which is
Which I.
No, I
Not going there.
Okay.
I'm going to keep going there, Emma, thank you, because
It's
I
going to be changed through the district plan.
and that's what needs to happen.
Yeah, and that's a district plan.
Well, is this a
What needs-
conversation
plan
around
change.
priorities in our next annual plan? Is that, get some information, but this, surely that's where the.
Information's all there.
Yeah, I
It's
agree,
been
I
there for
agree.
years.
Yeah.
No, I think we can do it if we can try and make it fit with the.
Yeah, right, I think we've got a way forward. Staff are going to come back to us. The notice of motion, which is going to give staff the mandate from the board,
Look into it.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
also.
prioritise it.
The traffic is actually, like the traffic coming down Westminster from Marshlands, from Travis,
Yeah.
that's increasing hugely. Like, the traffic is coming from, it's not the local traffic that seems to be, it's increasing too because of the
Which is,
number, but
which is
it's
the point of a
also-
collector road, but
Yeah,
I
And
don't
look,
want to go into it.
it's all right. We'll close that street one day. In the future.
But it's also
Right.
the fact that those turning off to the west have been closed off all
The
down
flyover.
Cannon Street. So that is a result of the DEP as well, that
Yeah, I think
Courtney's one of the few that you can actually get to.
Arguably, it's like.
Just very quickly before you go, do you know that they're looking at making a detour when they do this work in Courtney next week? That they're wanting it to go down Westminster, not realising that the street doesn't turn right. At the end of Westminster.
Oh, they might
So
push
the-
them down to Melbourne.
No, the detour
Oh,
on
they're
that.
detouring down Westminster. The other thing is I've got a start work notice here for Shepherd Place that has the work starting on the 25th, which is a Sunday.
That's because it's outside the school.
Yeah, no, it's not. I've talked to the school today and it's not starting on a Sunday. And the other thing is it says Central Ward and it's not Central Ward. But they're not biggies.
I figured they were doing it on a Sunday.
Okay, that's fine. I've got an email
Ellie.
from Andrea, the principal. Yeah, you can have that actually.
And how long is that work for?
That's one day, but they've got the day as a Sunday. So, but anyway.
Saturday it would mess with all the hundreds and hundreds of people at English Park.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do it on
so,
Sunday.
but Andrea said to me today that she believed that it was not on, it was on a school day because they've been liaising with them on this one because it's right by the school.
Thursday, Sunday.
But it looks like they're only doing the cul-de-sac head.
Yeah, the turning head.
Yeah, they are, but it's on a Sunday on the front there. The date is the 25th of May is a Sunday.
Yeah.
It's not a Sunday, according to the school principal.
This is from the contractor.
Yes, and the
So this is-
contractor's been talking to the school and said, we'll be doing this on a school day. And so when I got that today or saw it and it said Sunday, I rang Andrea and said, do you know it's a Sunday? She said, no, not according to the conversations we've been having with the contract. So
We'll find out which version it is.
that's right.
is
It's
correct.
just so that people know that they've got the right day.
Well, actually, and we'll just add another wee story. So we've had a lot of building on Courtney Street and they keep on putting the cones up and so forth. So I asked them about it. I said, we haven't, because we get no letters. And about them and they said, we're putting them out here for work. And I said, well, I haven't had a notice. We don't need to put it out for anything under 24 hours. And I said, okay, so when's the work going to be done? And they said, tomorrow. And it's like, well, what's that? I had a birthday party tonight and I've got 12 cars coming. Oh, just park there, they said.
Yeah.
And I said, yeah. And I said, oh, right, just park there. So, how do I know when to move? And they say, oh, well, an hour before you needed to be moved, if there's any cars there, they'll come and knock on your door and try and find you. And if not, they'll tow you at your expense. I was like, okay, so you're telling me I can park there, but I can't, if I'm accidentally still there when you actually need it.
And the number of
So if-
cars going down Courtney also meant that they didn't have to go wider in the drop, the letter drop for Courtney for the work. So they based it, they said it's a low use road, so we don't have to. Yeah, that's what they said to me today.
Otherwise.
I know, I just used it as a thing, but, and did you see Sunday on Courtney Street?
With a car on its roof.
A quick piece of feedback about temporary traffic management plans. If there's building works down the street and you get cones put up like that for drop-offs and pickups and all the rest of it, they should have a temporary traffic management plan to do that.
Well, they said under a certain number of hours, they couldn't remember whether it was 24 or 48 hours, but under that, they didn't have to give notice.
Well, I'll double check that, but if
that
they're
was
going to
right.
restrict it, they need to know what they're doing.
Yeah.
The other thing on Courtney Street that shouldn't happen is skips stored on the road.
It wasn't a skip, it was a block of.
No, yeah, but I went down there a few days ago and there
You're right, it
was
was-
skips on the road
it
as
was
well
blocked,
and
yeah.
they're dangerous.
Yeah.
Because
Oh,
nobody sees them.
well,
Yeah.
where the
So-
car turned over
Yeah,
is exactly where the pile of blocks
was.
blocks were.
All right, we'll finish up the information session.
Thank you very much,
Thank you very
Chair.
much for taking time to come along, appreciate it.
Yeah, that was
Yeah, thank
fiery.
you.
Yes.
Yeah, no, it's
Let me see it all.
Well deflected, Lynette.